dominated the world have used money to rule it and have ruled it in their own interest. It looks at a world economic system that has no regard for the poor, that has no regard for the small nations, that has no regard for the poor of the small nations. And the policy is a dignified policy, is not a violent policy, is not a policy of guns. It's a very honorable policy, but it is a very clear policy. It is a policy that calls the poor of the world to stand together, to stand firm together, to struggle together, to struggle for change, to struggle for justice, to struggle through organization, to struggle through will, to struggle through determination, to struggle to build a new kind of world in which your children and mine will walk with more dignity, with better housing, with better opportunity, with better prices, with better response from the World Monetary System. That is the world to which I call you. That is the world for which I struggle, and no power will turn me back from that world. And comrades, if you go and walk with me, if you go and step with me, if you go and move with me, we're moving as warriors. We're moving in determination. We're moving to struggle. We're moving to change that world. No power will turn us back.
Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green, dog. Me no chow-chow. No. Ha, 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 ho, ho. Who you know?
But if change is what we really want to see, ladies and gentlemen, then we must rise up. We must unite. We must advocate. We cannot remain silent. Where are the young men, the young women, the men, the women, the boys, the girls who will put aside political divide and do what is best for Jamaica? Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. Even our pledge, our national pledge, says before God and all mankind, we cannot see a better Jamaica unless we return to the foot of the cross. Jamaica under God must increase in beauty, fellowship and prosperity, and play our part.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I said I'm happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his hand. Yes, mommy, I see you. Yes, the journey is almost over. Shut up. And the battle is nearly won. And I have a feeling. I have a feeling in my heart. The best is yet to come. Slide off it. Over there, so wanna ready to wanna get up now, man. Wanna get up now, man. I feel mad in this place. Let's go. I am happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his. Over there, so I said the journey's almost over. I know the battle is nearly won, and I have a feeling in my heart, the best is yet. Come on, church. I said the best is yet to come. When I walk through heaven's gates, yeah, I said the first time I'll see Jesus, I can hardly wait. And he showed me to a man, son, and said, child, this is your home. And I have a feeling in my heart. You know this one? Listen.
Oh, you know. I want to hear the angels singing. I want to be in that number. I want to hear that trumpet song. We have done now. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear archangel. What I want to hear when my name is called. I want to hear. Everybody know I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. Watch out now. I want to see the angel marching. I want to be in that number. I want to hear. I want to hear that trumpet song. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear. God bless her now. I want to hear. When the name is called, I want to hear. Everybody do so. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be. Get something and wave it. Get something and wave it. Get something out. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be happy. Walk out, Christian, walk out, Christian. I only live my life to please. Send me rocking for the road and the star on my phone. I only live my life to please. Live up my life. Come on, man, we have done, man. Everybody, so. Live up my life. Live Jesus. This is silent night. What a holy night. But your virgin mother and child. Holy, so tender. Talk to me now. But sweetly, God bless you, God bless you. Let me tell some people, I know one prayer we pray.
Blood and fire comrades who are in jungle tonight. On the nose that the word is love. Comrades, me come with a speech, but it's a different speech me have to give tonight. But before I go into that, we have been saying all night that young people know set time come. And I want to bring up a young man who has looked for himself, him read for himself, him search for himself, and when him done, him realize that the only choice he could choose is the People's National Party. And I want to welcome Comrade Perry.
Hold on. We don't have much time. When I say time, you say come. Time. Senator Murray, somebody asked me, Perry, why aren't you a Labourite? Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow. No. Ha, ho. Who you know? Underpants, Paolo. We the gal in the
Hold on, cut in, man. Hold on.
Me coulda never green.
Hold on, no DJ, man. Hold on. I don't have much time. The next Prime Minister, let me shake your hand, so big up yourself, Mark Golding, Jensek, and brother, Dayton Campbell Doctor. Listen, in 1938, the People's National Party was formed out of the vision to help the poor people. It was born out of restlessness of the people seeking for better. And I believe that the People's National Party continues to be the answer for the people. Can I hear an amen? Hold on. In 1995, under the auspices of P.J. Patson, the most honorable, there was a revitalization and an extension of the new National Youth Service Program, which gave young people the opportunity to earn Commander Church. It gave people the opportunity to better themselves. I don't have much time, but hear what? I hear the other people them say, you must choose Jamaica, but you can't choose Jamaica without choosing the people. God bless you.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow. No. Ha, ho. Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow.
Raise your blood, comrades.
Comrades, I want to let you know that young man is the former guild president at the University of the West Indies. That is the kind of young people that we attract in the People's National Party.
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again. Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces principles of good governance in this country.
Lightning and thunder for the JLP. Oh. Corruption in the nation. What a sticky situation. Always see a degradation. Innocent men at the station. Andrew and his cronies getting richer, them a big done. Talking about them helping out the poor. Tell me which one. Juliet, a speaker of the house, me can't believe it. Them mashing the housing trust for people I go feel it. The JLP, them satanic and demonic. Now war fit the youth, them prosper only fit them pocket. I beg is hamping. Corruption in the nation. What a sticky situation. Always see a degradation. Innocent men at the station. Andrew and his cronies getting richer, them a big done. Talking about them helping out the poor. Tell me which one. Juliet, a speaker of the house, me can't believe it. Them machine the housing trust for people I go feel it. The JLP, them satanic and demonic. No war fit the youth, them prosper only fit them pocket. I beg you stop it.
Perspective with Perry Cummings Jr. Big up yourself. The best is yet to come. This is my perspective. Telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me objective. Scandal after scandal. Look where Jamaica come to. Them a rob the money and a thief a lot too. Election tactics, what a disgrace. Them cut off ribbon and the place not safe. It's a prime minister, are you me a address? Police a kill off the youth if you check. Talking about the way country are the best. But though this a my perspective, telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel.
Greetings, and greetings again to my perspective family. Good evening to you, one and all. It is the 24th of May 2026. How are you feeling? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to each and every one of you. How are you feeling, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know how you're feeling in the chat. Remember to like the live, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching, thank you, Carol. If you're watching and you realize that you're unable to participate in the comments, it's because you're not a subscriber. Please subscribe. We're on our way to 10,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. It is encouraging every time I see a number change in the right direction. There is growth, and I can only appreciate the Lord and my viewers for helping me to spread the word. Today was good in church. Today is celebrated right across the Pentecostal Apostolic churches as Pentecost Sunday.
And today was indeed a fiery service. The preacher spoke from the story of the woman of Samaria who met Jesus at the well. The title of the message was Draw from the Well. And in short, the story was about, or the story is about Jesus resting on Jacob's well. Yes, Shanika, I am considered Pentecostal apostolic. Even though I have so many SDA friends. One of my best friends is a Seventh-day Adventist. Well, Audine, we continue to pray for you. You'll get better very soon. The story is about Jesus sitting on the well, on Jacob's well, because he had a meeting. He had to communicate with a woman. I just want you to understand something this evening, ladies and gentlemen, that when Jesus wants to meet with you, there's nothing that can stop it. Somebody type amen, no man. A Pentecost Sunday, I'm not preaching over a sermon. I just sharing with you what was shared with us in church. When God wants to meet with you, there is absolutely nothing that can stop it. And the woman of Samaria, in those days, the Samaritans, they had no dealings with the Jews. Winsome Graham, her husband, and well, they're celebrating 33 years of marriage. Happy anniversary to you, Mr. and Mrs. Graham. Bless you, bless you, bless you. I get to understand that both Winsome and Andrew Graham, they watch the perspective probably from different devices. So happy anniversary to you both. May the Lord continue to bless you. Yes, you celebrate your anniversary the same month like my parents. Happy anniversary to you. The story is very interesting because Jesus sent away the disciples to buy meat, to buy some grocery. But it was intentional what Jesus did. Because the Jews and the Samaritans in those days, they had no dealings. They couldn't get along because of the different religious practices and the ideologies and so on. But this woman needed an encounter with Jesus. So Jesus sent the disciples away. And when you think about it, it is the love of God, because He cares for us. And Jesus told her that, listen man, if you drink of this water out of this well, you will get thirsty again. But there is a water, ladies and gentlemen, that if you drink of that water, you shall never thirst again. It will be like a well springing up. So today was indeed a good day. The message was solid. And I want to make a clarion call. Join me on clarion call tomorrow at 3 p.m. I want to make a clarion call to my viewers that if you've not yet received of that water, that eternal stream, I'm encouraging you to do so, because that water is salvation. There is a fountain. Yes. But there's a song that dropped in my spirit. I'll probably just sing the chorus. I don't think I remember the tune for the verses, but the song says, "Sweet will of God, still fold me closer, till I am wholly lost in thee. Sweet will of God, still fold me closer, till I am wholly lost in thee." One more time, sweet will of God, still fold me closer, till I am wholly lost in thee. Sweet will of God, still fold me closer, till I am wholly lost, my God, in thee. The author of this beautiful song is Mrs. C.H. Morris. She was born in 1862, died in 1929. She was born in Pennsylvania, Morgan County, Ohio, when her family moved to Malta on the Muskingum River. There, she and her sister and mother had a millinery shop in McConnellsville. She and her husband, Charles H. Morris, were active in the Methodist Episcopal Church and at the camp meetings in Sebring and Mount Vernon. She wrote hymns as she did her housework. Although she became blind at age 52, she continued to write hymns on a 28-foot-long blackboard that her family had built for her. She is said to have written 1,000 texts and many tunes, including Sweeter as the Years Go By. My God. Sweet will of God. Sweet will of God. Well, let me know where you're viewing from, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to dive into tonight's show. Please to like up the live, share the live, subscribe if you've not yet done so. East Portland, blessings to you. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. Condolences to the Graham, because Mrs. Graham's husband's aunt, I believe, passed off. But today they're celebrating their anniversary. Listowel, Ontario, Canada, watching from East Portland, Kingston, Islington, St. Mary, Southfield, St. Elizabeth, Maryland. Come on in, Northeast, St. Elizabeth, Yuaton, blessings, Delaware, Irvington, New Jersey, Queens, New Rosedale, Delaware, Portmore. I'm seeing this message here. Lady, who is Lady P? Somebody saying Lady P's son died. You'd have to jog my memory. Is she one of our viewers? I'm not sure who is that. If somebody can just clarify who is Lady P. Condolences to one of my callers. Wow. Well, condolences to Lady P and her family for that tragic loss. I'm getting to understand that her son passed away suddenly. That is unfortunate. Was he sick? Did we get that information? Was he sick? Or it was just a sudden passing? Edgewater, Portmore, Cranford, New Jersey. Blessings, blessings to you all. Blessings, blessings, blessings. I'm waiting on some more information regarding Lady P and her son. Nassau, Bahamas, blessings to you. Blessings to you. Connecticut, blessings to you. Blessings, 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 blessings. Oh my Lord. Louidersville, St. Catherine. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen. We're inviting you all to come along. We're having a glorious time. Bunkers Hill, Clarendon, Queens, New York. Bounty Hall. Okay, we don't know the circumstances surrounding the death. Well, condolences to the family. Pretty sure it must be a very difficult time for them. London, England. We have to pray for each other, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of death, a lot of death. Crooked River, Yuatan, St. Catherine, North East, St. Anne. Bugwalk. Wow, he was 28 years old. I'm 27 years of age. Wow, wow, wow. Young man. Sad. Orlando, Jonestown, Waterhouse, Denham Town. Blessings to each and every one of you. Brooklyn, New York, Mountain View. Alright, I believe I'm getting the clarification now because Joan is calling me. Hold on. Let me call back. Joan, possibly this call is going to clarify what happened. Hold on.
Hello?
Yes, Sister Joan, blessings.
Yeah, good evening. Blessings to you too. Lady P is a caller. She used to call you when you were on over the other side.
Okay.
And she calls every day. She calls every time. She calls every time. She calls every program.
Oh.
Everybody knows Lady P. Very, very. Yeah, she always calling programs every day. Every day. And she came on, I think, half an hour on a program saying he died suddenly.
Wow.
And I think he was 27 or 28 years of age.
So somebody said 28. 28.
Yeah, has no children.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
in mourning, spoke. She says she's having aches, tummy aches and everything. You know, I was having my dinner when she spoke and I felt it for her so much.
Oh.
She calls every program. She calls every program.
I think I know who you're talking, man.
Yes, she's an ardent caller. Always calling the programs, yes. And talking about Marky G, yes.
I know who you're talking now.
You know, okay. Alright, have a good evening. I'm here listening, as usual.
Alright, Joan, thanks.
Alright, okay.
Well, that is a very sad one, ladies and gentlemen. I remember her, if it's the same lady. Yes, I remember her voice. That voice, she has a distinct voice. Lord have mercy. Wow. He just said that he didn't feel well and that was it. Oh God Almighty. I'm getting another call. Hello, good evening.
Yes, brother Perry, good evening.
Bless you.
Bless you, brother. When you go to say you don't make church, I say Pentecost church, me go, you know.
Yes.
In which area? Bethel Tabernacle, Pentecost.
Oh, yeah, I know Bethel, yes.
Yeah, that's my church.
I may pay a visit one of these days that when I'm in the area.
Okay, yeah, man.
Alright. Bless you.
Bless you.
But you know, ladies and gentlemen, we just have to pray for our fellow brothers and sisters. You know, that's why I try my best to pray after every program, because sometimes you just don't know. You just don't know, ladies and gentlemen, what somebody is going through. You just never know. You just never know. Yeah, that's a rough one. It's a sad one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna push on. we keep each other in our prayers, and we want to ensure that we bear each other up in our regular devotions. Just pray for the viewers. Sometimes you may not remember everybody by name, certainly not, but for the names that you can remember, and for those who you don't remember, put them before the Lord. Because sometimes you may never know what your prayer can do. Alright? Well, we have a few matters to touch. I found this to be very interesting. Apparently, long exposure to hotter temperatures could expose you to kidney problems. In all honesty, I have never I didn't know this. Probably I've heard it, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. This is serious news. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen.
As the time heats up, a warning this evening to persons working outdoors for long periods to pay keen attention to their health to prevent the likelihood of developing kidney problems. The call comes from a doctor at Mandeville Regional Hospital's renal unit. Once again, here's Krista Campbell.
A month away from the official start of summer, but the climate has already been heating up. And as persons become more exposed to more intense heat, a junior resident doctor in the renal unit at the Mandeville Regional Hospital in Manchester is warning of an even more serious exposure.
For example, persons that are exposed to intense heat without adequate hydration, and we reference our construction workers, or persons that are vending, or persons that are doing daily work in the sun, like our farmers, for example. We also reference persons that are exposed to finer pollution in the air. So persons that live in environments that have frequent burning of garbage, frequent burning of leaves, those persons are actually at risk if exposed to that over years of developing kidney damage.
She's encouraging men especially to do regular checkups.
Whereas the women might be a little bit more concerned if they notice that there is changes in the color of their urine or the quantity of urine. Unfortunately, our men do not tend to get checked until they are swollen, not passing any urine at all, and experiencing symptoms like malaise, nausea, and vomiting.
We want to remind men that they need to be doing their blood test for their prostate and checking to make sure that everything is okay. Lately, the government has also subsidized the cost of the PSA, which is their prostate blood test. They can use their NHS card now to get it done.
For his part, hospital CEO Alwyn Miller is urging the population to take kidney disease more seriously, noting that an increasing number of persons 20 to 40 years old, many of them from Clarendon, are being admitted for kidney failure. He's warning everyone, especially persons on dialysis, to pay close attention to their health and stay away from sugary and certain energy drinks.
Even when we are aware of this, persons still to continue to eat as they would have been accustomed to, according to how our culture is, whether it be the volume of food or the types of food and all of that, which eventually contribute to us developing diabetes, hypertension, and other diseases.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me encourage, especially those, as the experts said, those who, work in the sun a lot, the construction workers and, people, probably the vendors. I want to encourage us all to drink a lot of water. We're heading into the summer season. The earth is getting hotter and hotter. So let us keep hydrated, because the heat will affect or can affect your kidneys. When we say drink water, see me have my, let me take 2 sips. Drink up your water, ladies and gentlemen. And coconut water too. Coconut water too. I've not had enough of that. And I promised myself I was driving past this lady selling coconut water. and it just looked so refreshing. But you know, coconut water is also very, very good for you. I'd like to extend the conversation because we have to take these precautionary measures, ladies and gentlemen. Try your best as much as possible to stay away from our hospitals. Please, you don't want to get sick in Jamaica. Labourites don't like when I begin to go down certain roads, you know. But you don't want to get sick in Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome, Lorna Marriott. You don't want to get sick in Jamaica where you have to go to hospital. Because we know the state of our health system already. Please, drink up your water, eat properly. You hear what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? Because we have a failing health system. You cannot risk your life by being admitted to any of these public hospitals. Just the other day, one of our viewers shared the unfortunate news of a relative dying in the hospital because of neglect at the KPH. So I want persons to understand that we are in a crisis in Jamaica. We need to understand that if you can avoid the hospitals as much as possible, please avoid it. Because with the hospitals, ladies and gentlemen, it seems as if it's a death sentence. When you're there, there's a crisis in our health system, and it's a very serious crisis. I don't think we should, you know, be quiet about these things. It should be one of the leading conversations continually. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the fact that the Minister of Health is still the Minister of Health. There needs to be a mechanism implemented, ladies and gentlemen, where these people have to step down. Good night, Pamela Henry from Canada. It's deplorable. It's deplorable. We have some more important matters to touch on. For example, on a matter of health, the medical staff at the Linstead Hospital, they experienced a chicken pox outbreak. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen.
A chickenpox outbreak at a medical facility in St. Catherine drew the anger of Chairman of the Municipal Corporation's Health and Sanitation Committee, Sidney Rose, on Thursday. Not because of the outbreak itself, but what he deemed an unconscionable response from hospital authorities. Krista Campbell has that story.
A health situation unraveling behind the walls of the Linstead Public Hospital in St. Catherine that's caught the attention of Chairman of the Municipal Corporation's Health and Sanitation Committee.
But there's an outbreak of chickenpox at the Linstead General Hospital since last week Friday, Saturday. And several persons, to include medical and non-medical persons, has contracted chickenpox.
The committee chairman said a clinical staff member relayed what is happening at the hospital to him. But what has him disgruntled is how he said the management of the facility is responding to the affected staff members.
They have asked these persons, these medical, clinical persons, or let me say clinical persons, to pay for the vaccine, which costs $9,500. And listen to me, and I'm not speculating, it is the staff to pay $9,500, and the staff had to, strongly resist. And they say, well, if you can pay 30%, then we'll pay the rest.
Mr. Rose stressed such a response is in poor taste because the staff would have contracted the disease on the job while taking care of patients with chickenpox.
What matters worse is that they are saying the 5 days that they have been given is not part of what they would have gotten for their sick leave. How could they ever say that to the staff members?
He says the sick days are apparently being taken out of the medical staff's regular sick days, and in any event do not nearly cover the 7 to 14 days it takes to be healed from chickenpox. This was Deputy Chief Public Health Inspector for St. Catherine, Denise Douglas's response to the chairman's concerns.
The Linstead Hospital chickenpox outbreak, that matter was brought to our attention and it is being investigated as it relates to the staff not getting adequate sick leave or on the 5 days they're being granted. That is a function of HR and I cannot speak to that.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
What is that? What was that? What was that? What did I hear just now, ladies and gentlemen? You know what I'll say though? The health crisis in our country affects everybody. Whether you're a Labourite, PNP, or independent, it affects everybody. And I find it unbecoming that the same people who are expected to be on the front line in terms of helping to rehabilitate those who are ill, that is the response you give? That you don't think that it is unbecoming of you as the authorities to ask the people to pay out of... Let me play that news. Let me play that news again, ladies. And I want to try and understand what he's really trying to communicate. You know, it goes to show, and Dr. Dawes said it. It is a right for you to have access to proper health, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody should treat this situation as if it is only reserved for the rich and powerful. We have a right. We have a right to be healthy. We have a right to have access to what it will take for us to be healthy and to recover if we are ill. There's no way an official representing the medical sector should come out and make such a out of order statement. But I'm going to play that news. Listen to this. Listen to it again, ladies and gentlemen.
A chickenpox outbreak at a medical facility in St. Catherine drew the anger of chairman of the Municipal Corporation's Health and Sanitation Committee, Sidney Rose, on Thursday. Not because of the outbreak itself, but what he deemed an unconscionable response from hospital authorities. Krista Campbell has that story.
A health situation unraveling behind the walls of the Linstead Public Hospital in St. Catherine that's caught the attention of chairman of the Municipal Corporation's Health and Sanitation Committee.
But there's an outbreak of chickenpox at the Linstead General Hospital since last week Friday, Saturday. And several persons, to include medical and non-medical persons, has contracted chickenpox.
The committee chairman said a clinical staff member relayed what is happening at the hospital to him. But what has him disgruntled is how he said the management of the facility is responding to the affected staff members.
They have asked these persons, these medical, clinical persons, or let me say clinical persons, to pay for the vaccine, which costs $9,500. And listen me, and I'm not speculating, it is the staff to pay $9,500, and the staff had to, strongly resist. And they say, well, if you can pay 30%, then we'll pay the rest.
Mr. Rose stressed such a response is in poor taste because the staff would have contracted the disease on the job while taking care of patients with chickenpox.
What matters worse is that they are saying the 5 days that they have been given is not part of what they would have gotten for their sick leave. How could they ever say that to the staff members?
He says the sick days are apparently being taken out of the medical staff's regular sick days, and in any event do not nearly cover the 7 to 14 days it takes to be healed from chickenpox. This was Deputy Chief Public Health Inspector for St. Catherine, Denise Douglas's response to the chairman's concerns.
The Linstead Hospital chickenpox outbreak, that matter was brought to our attention and it is being investigated as it relates to the staff not getting adequate sick leave or on the 5 days they're being granted. That is a function of HR and I cannot speak to that.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
Sakata, we are mash up, fire under the Holy Ghost. Every crisis, every condition, every operation of hell, fire, Bishop. I got your back, fire. Jesus Christ, watch the operation. Jesus Christ, Eastwood Park Road, come. Cover your pastor. Going, Bishop. Take down the Illuminati. Take down the voodoo. Take down the Freemason. Take down the witches. Take down the warlock. Take down the Wabiaism. The man that the Holy Ghost, left him.
Caring government? I wonder where the caring government is because it is certainly not this one. I find it this needs to be addressed. This needs to be addressed. Listen. In no country that is serious about the health of its citizens, particularly those who are in the same field of health, this should never be the type of response. A lot of these hard workers are overworked because of the shortage of staff, and you're overworking the people and the outbreak, and you don't even have a heart to see to it that the people see to it that the people are okay. It's rubbish, ladies and gentlemen. It's foolishness. And I challenge the staff. Listen, you people need to start block roads and protests all over this country, Apparently it is the only way we can get the attention of this government. If you don't block road protests, they don't see you. To the point where the superintendent in St. James was telling the people of Granville that they must stop block road, and you don't want us to block roads because the international community, they are watching, ladies and gentlemen. They are watching, and I'll tell you how I know that they are watching. Listen to this.
The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights says it is deeply concerned about the death of Latoya Bulgin, the woman who was shot by the police in Granville St. James last week. Ms. Bulgin was part of a group protesting the fatal police shooting of a 17-year-old boy on Mother's Day. In a statement on social media site X, the commission said it takes note of the officer's interdiction as well as the investigation underway and urges a prompt, independent, impartial, and transparent inquiry. It adds that states must protect and facilitate the right to peaceful protest and stressed that any use of force by law enforcement must be strictly necessary, proportionate, and aimed at safeguarding the right to life and personal integrity. Now, the shooting has left many Jamaicans outraged about the police's use of force and the need for body-worn cameras to provide independent data on these types of incidents.
CNN, ABC, Fox News, Script News, the Oval Office. Call them. Ladies and gentlemen, help me call them, no man. You don't see the International Human Rights Group, them see what go on. Call them, ladies and gentlemen. Don't stop Black Road because the world is watching. Help me call them out. NBC, CNN, ABC, BBC, all of them, ladies and gentlemen, we needed to come down in Jamaica, do the interviews, go into Granville and all the places where we see this police fatal shooting. Come.
Fire. And if the enemy are fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop. Lord God, badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ, what is what pop, 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 pop. Jesus Christ, war tonight, Bishop. Warfare tonight. Warfare. Badam, bam, bam, bam. Boom, boom.
If we don't get the attention of the international community, the Andrew Wallace-led administration will continue to get away with murder, corruption. I'm hearing that right now there's a protest as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to don't stop. Don't stop. For too long, the Andrew Wallace administration, they have gotten away with so much. Look at how the police officers are murdering the innocent in this nation. Nothing coming out of these cases. We don't see police officers going to prison. Nobody's been charged. Huh? And when people speak up, all of a sudden we are the problem. If we don't speak up, ladies and gentlemen, thank God for social media. Thank God for social media. We want everybody all over the world, presidents and prime ministers from all over the world. Jamaica is under siege. The Andrew Wallace administration is causing sufferation in the country. It's not pretty, the tactic. And I'm going to go back to it. When I saw IShowSpeed coming to Jamaica, I said, look at this PR strategy by the government to make it seem as if Jamaica is okay. I know that IShowSpeed had his Caribbean tour to do. But I saw how Olivia Babsy Grange and all of these media personalities and influencers and all of them, they were with IShowSpeed all over the country for millions and millions of people to see. You would, if you're an outsider looking in, you would think that Jamaica is okay. It was a cover-up, Darna Johnson. It was a deliberate attempt to mask the realities that Jamaica is facing. Trying to deflect from the realities that Jamaica is experiencing. I am happy that the international human rights groups, they are concerned about what happened in Granville. Come on, send help.
The Inter-American Commission on Human Rights says it is deeply concerned about the death of Latoya Bulgin, the woman who was shot by the police in Granville St. James last week. Ms. Bulgin was part of a group protesting the fatal police shooting of a 17-year-old boy on Mother's Day. In a statement on social media site X, the commission said it takes note of the officer's interdiction as well as the investigation underway and urges a prompt, independent, impartial, and transparent inquiry. It adds that states must protect and facilitate the right to peaceful protest and stressed that any use of law, or rather any use of force by law enforcement, must be strictly necessary, proportionate, and aimed at safeguarding the right to life and personal integrity. Now, the shooting has left many Jamaicans outraged about the police's use of force and the need for body-worn cameras to provide independent data on these types of incidents.
If there's ever a time we need international intervention, the time is now. As a matter of fact, I remember a couple months ago, we were praying for international intervention. We want the international authorities, based on the international laws, to be activated and to put a stop order to this administration. I want you all to come down here, get some interviews with the people in these communities. And it's not just for the killings, Greek Jamaica, because we're getting to that. Don't think I see the whole IC comments in the chat. I know we're all excited to talk about that. We're getting there. But we must take our first break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Integrity Commission. And we're going to talk about the millions of dollars that apparently taxpayers will have to foot because of the hanky-panky going on over the National Works Agency. We have some things to touch. So come, ladies and gentlemen.
Where are the JLP are going with? Perspective family. Pick up yourself. Blood and fire comrades. I is asking for a change. We have to mash down Babylon, time come now. Andrew them a wrap up the money like wow. Them turn taxpayers in a big cash cow. The people them work for nothing big fiasco. Time come for people fi start unite. Time come fi protect the human right. Time come JLP no have no plan. The plan is to kill, destroy, steal and rob. The devil is loose, my friend, and he loves the color green. Hey, yeah. Don't be blind, my friend. Open up your eyes and see.
Breeze Petty and Hair Care Mobile Services, where we provide gel, male and kids pedicure. We also offer locks, kids and natural hairstyling services right in the convenience of your own home. For appointments, please contact us at 1-876-507-7484. Remember, we'll take care of you, not only the crown of your head, but also the soles of your feet.
And Pearl Therapy, we are here to help you to bring ultimate relaxation to your feet. Our hot stone, Swedish, and deep tissue massage services are here to help you to get rid of tensions, minor swellings, and aches and pain, increase flexibility and circulation. If you are having any heart or circulatory diseases, then this might not be for you. Reach out to us and let's see if you can secure yourself with a foot massage for as low as $4,500. Thank you for choosing Pearl Therapy, the healing hub.
Are you frustrated with your skincare? Are you tired of acne, blemishes, scars, sagging skin, wrinkles, discoloration? Why not enjoy our wide array of products, from skin, hair, and personal care? Place your frustration on our shoulders, and we will get you smiling again. The power of our products are in our formulation and ingredients. Listen to our customer testimonial. This is what she has to say.
Oh my gosh, look at my face. I've been using these products for a year, exactly 1 year. If you have not tried them, you need to try them. They really work. Look at my skin.
Visit our website or contact us at 917-557-6204. Make it Tonian Organics and order yours today.
Food is designed to be felt, not just tasted. soft warmth, gentle richness, a harmony that melts effortlessly on the tongue. At Cummings Exquisite Caterers, every dish is an invitation, guided by passion, finished with elegance. We cater for life's most meaningful moments, elegant weddings, private celebrations, and much more. With a serene repast center just 10 minutes away from two major cemeteries. We are located at 38 Joe Blaine Spanish Town Road. Reach out to us 876-573-9124.
Cummings Exquisite Caterers were designed.
Our first social media question tonight comes from Instagram. Shania in Kingston. She says, low voter turnout suppresses the effectiveness of a democratic society. Many Jamaicans refuse to vote because they believe both parties are corrupt. What would you say to the significant population of non-voters? And if elected, how will you hold politicians accountable for offenses against the people instead of protecting them?
So in this instance, the question, you have 90 seconds to answer, and we begin with Dr. Holness.
Corruption is a serious problem in our country, and corruption requires strong leadership. From my position as Prime Minister, I have taken action against any member of my political party that has been involved or accused of anything that suggests corruption. In my own case, I have been investigated for a year with an expert forensic auditor. The findings of that report have suggested no corruption. There have been no charges. Every aspect of my report, every aspect of my personal life and my personal financial details are in the public domain. I am the politician about which Jamaica knows the most. And therefore, I am the politician who can stand with the greatest moral authority to treat with any matter that is considered corrupt, as I have done in the past. And I want to give this assurance to the Jamaican people that you know me, you know about me, you can trust me, and you know that I stand against corruption.
Mr. Golding has the opportunity to respond to that social media question as well.
Andrew, what they know about you is that you have 28 bank accounts, that you received several $1 million in cash deposits from anonymous donors in your bank account, that your companies had transactions of over $400 million, several thousand transactions between them, and that Positive Jamaica Foundation, a non-profit which you are intimately connected with, provided resources which you use for personal investments through your personal company. We have signed the Leadership Code of Conduct developed by Integrity Commission. All of our spokespersons and myself have signed. None of your people have signed it. I am committed to ensuring that all members of the executive, when we form government, will have their Integrity Commission declarations published, not just the leader of the opposition and what should happen, but hasn't happened in your case because you're not certified, the Prime Minister. So the whole question that has been asked is an excellent question. And we really need to step up our vigilance against corrupt behavior, nepotism and cronyism. The volume of scandals under this Jamaica Labour Party government is unprecedented. Over the number of ministers who have had to be removed from frontline duty, many of them parked in the naughty corner in OPM rather than being sacked. It is a disgrace to the country, and your personal situation where you're operating under a deep cloud because your Integrity Commission declarations are not certified also is something which Jamaica cannot go forward with.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Perspective, and I'm your host, Perry Cummings Jr. No shame, Mr. Prime Minister. There's absolutely no shame in your game at all. Certainly, it is a game that the Andrew Holness administration is playing. The Labourites say that Andrew Holness is playing a game of chess. But to benefit who, though? A game of chess To benefit who? It's all a game for him. The pawns being the JLP supporters. The Queen being his wife, who they have so strategically placed as the Speaker of the House to suppress the opposition. Yes. What a wicked game, Mr. Prime Minister. Game is so wicked because you deceived, and I don't have much to say about you tonight, but you've truly deceived the country, you know. I remember your bold promises during the election and how Jamaica is yet to see any of those promises materializing. It's a great deception. I will brand the third term as the great deception of the Jamaica Labour Party. I think I could do a documentary, a 1 hour or 2 hour documentary at the end of this third term to remind Jamaicans. No, Greek Jamaica, when I say deception, not for those who are enlightened. I'm talking about those who genuinely thought that the Prime Minister was going to do better this term. I know many of my viewers, you are a part of the enlightened bunch. But a lot of Labourites were deceived. A lot of them are cussing out now. So they were deceived. It was a great deception. Huh? Great deception. Promise the people. At one session, a 24-hour documentary. I may have to do a marathon because I want to go line by line, moment after moment, how the Andrew Holness administration deceived the world. The plays he made and how he has been operating under the guise of good governance, but really and truly it's the most corrupt government that we've seen in a very, very long time. I see some Labourites crashing out on social media. But you know, the tourism minister is coming out to tell us that Jamaica is safe. Is it?
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett is this evening assuring visitors that Jamaica remains a safe destination. His comment follows the fatal police shooting at the Sangster International Airport involving an American citizen Friday morning. During a visit of the airport on Saturday, Mr. Bartlett stressed the importance of destination assurance to the sector.
The Ministry of Tourism is very concerned about the safety of our visitors, and we want to make it very clear to the world that when you come to Jamaica, you will be safe.
The tourism minister said safety systems are crucial in protecting Jamaica's tourism destination. He added that the cost of enabling those systems can sometimes be lethal.
That if someone made a mistake and drifted to the wrong places, and then because of either not being in full control of their faculties or something, you know, with the risk of them just doing the wrong thing and causing a massive disruption at our airports or anywhere, it's too great. And so I think the security forces are alerted to act. And when they act, we need to recognize their action for the critical value that it presents.
I'm not sure what Jamaica is Edmund Bartlett experiencing, but the news, the statistics, and the people, they are saying a different story, Mr. Edmund Bartlett. Marshy, what?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah, man. No, not Nikisha. It's Juliet Cuthbert will come for this evening.
Oh, yes. Yeah, man. Tell us what you think, because we have some things to play, you know. Yes.
Yeah. Juliet Cuthbert, her husband cannot kiss her because her mouth is very nasty. A member of her constituents were talking to her about certain things in her constituency. And Juliet Cuthbert laced him with all the dirty bad words them where you can think about. Juliet Cuthbert, and they have it on tape. And just because I'm in a store and something that people can still find it all now. Juliet Cuthbert laced the member of her constituency on dirty bad words. And then a journalist were interviewing her about water and the constituency. What you talking to me for? To water commission you talked about, and to a very rude to the journalist. No, Nikita Bertrand not tell me her constituents no bad word. She not do them thing there. She not rude to any journalist.
No.
What she said about Miss Agnes. Miss Agnes been doing it for the longest while. And somebody finally stand up to her. Miss Agnes is very rude in the parliament.
Yes.
Very, very rude. So Juliet, you don't come talk about nasty. Anybody nasty in the parliament. You Juliet Cuthbert. Juliet Cuthbert, your mouth nasty more than Warmington mouth. Juliet Cuthbert, you're very nasty. You don't come talk about Nikisha Burchell. Nasty and below belt and all of them things. Anybody in there, Juliet Cuthbert are you. And I dare you, Juliet Cuthbert. She called Perry Cummings Jr. and tell me to lie me at you. Because you get and tape out though, you cussed it, you the constituent because she must complete yourself now and all of them things and lace him with some of the real blood of textile them. So you no come talk about Nikita Bertrand. Don't do that. Juliet Cuthbert, it's better if you just silent and not say anything because Juliet Cuthbert, if you think you're bad, go in the parliament and talk about the bad road them when a few constituents.
Oh, glory!
When nobody can't, they can't. I know you're alone. No labor right. You never hear a labor right MP go in there and talk about the condition of the road in the constituency. They must independent from the PNP. They go talk. Any of them get up to talk about bad words in the constituency. Miss Agnes lock them down. They can't talk about it. So it's time that somebody stand up to your name, say Juliet Wellness, and make she know what going. Because how she go on, she really rule her husband and then lie. She and her husband lie. Talk about bomb threat did up at the house. When I would have she did a bust her husband or something. Come talk about bomb threat. And the argument just dead, so. You know, on the lie, see like how my friend Cliff used the lie. Talk about them man fire gunshot over them place. No camera can't show no nothing at all. Nothing. Because anyway in Jamaica camera they know. And nobody couldn't see no man plan a bike and then something. And then tell the brother lie and get it. And now no come with the same lie about bomb shot of our not a lie who did that tell. Only your husband lie. Mrs. Miss Agnes, your husband on a very lie. I love to talk. Stupidness to the note or not. You do not have some blogger. The blogger then done not even back not done such a because they lie. I'm coming to talk about Nikisha wrong. Nikisha not do nothing wrong. I full time this man is stand up to Agnes. Oh, she shut down people, switch off them mic and all of them things. Why tell me because the PNP have fight to them people? But Juliet Wellness and her husband, nobody from the GLP side can talk about the condition of the road and the constituency. And then we have an idiot. We have an idiot administer road. And then sitting there when you're Mr. Morgan. No damn purpose. Only collecting his money and come to kind of order. And when I talk a skinny face like somebody will laugh with him. And then they will not in a parliament. You don't go to hell here, man. Go to hell when you go to stay. They won't come back to lie and peace. We're not going to do the hurricane money we're going to get. We're not going to do it. Hey, Juliet Cuthbert, you think you are getting it? You think you are getting it? Because when you were going to spend, you're not get one set. And let me tell you, when the PNP balls to them bad road, it's one thing. But you're not ball yourself in none and no party have the money at thief it up your damn teeth you know about it. You have all one Lester Morgan where they do little work for truck man them have to whisper oh them have to give this one of money if you give a man and this one of Lester Morgan you have to go you know serve no purpose. But Juliet when you hear the thing shut your mouth too nasty. And Juliet you're not well enough for a long time. You too watch your walk to school, American high school. You too watch it. You too them a Stanford Road and Lyson Road corner and watch your go to school. Yeah, I smell it when you know you're talking right now. I know you're Julie, right? And I'm glad to see yes, you reach high and I try to be mighty. But you don't serve any purpose. You're just in there for good, yes. That's all you do, Julie. And you're very good at coming second. Because now you take on Nikita Burton and you come second again. Thanks to the 2 seconds when you come and do 2 silver medals. But we did have a woman when you're Florence Griffith. It just drugs up and wait for you. Now you run up in a Nikita version. But I'm going to keep yourself quiet. Your mouth too nasty. And when remember your constituent talk to you, don't tell them any more bad words. And when any journalist interview you, don't tell them any more bad words. Your mouth too nasty. So leave the Keisha alone. Good night, Perry.
Fire. And if the enemy are fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop. Lord God, badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ, what is what? Pop, 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 pop. Jesus Christ, war tonight, Bishop. Warfare tonight. Warfare. Badam, bam, bam, bam. Boom, boom.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned that you're liking up the live. Those who are watching and you've not yet subscribed, please to do so. I'm telling you, Marshy man. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Edmund Bartlett, where in Jamaica is safe? Safe for you and your politician friends. Safe for you with your security details. Remember, you know, now having no CPOs on both sides. All of these politicians, they have the CPOs and you can go anywhere in Jamaica because you'll have a battalion of security personnel parading the country with you. So when you say Jamaica is safe, who is Jamaica safe for? We're going to move on to some other matters, but I want to hammer home this point here because I cannot stand these politicians, especially those from the government, that continues to come out and do what is called damage control. Currently not even 300 likes yet. No man, we want to do better. Let us get to 400 likes, ladies and gentlemen. 500 is the goal. I'm sick and tired of these JLP MPs and government ministers coming out to do damage control, to try and communicate to the international community that somehow the people in Jamaica, they're just overreacting. I guess we're just overreacting, ladies and gentlemen. I guess the extrajudicial killings, it's just us overreacting. We see the criminals too, because we're not just talking about rogue police officers, ladies and gentlemen. We stand resolute against all of them. We stand resolute against criminals, whether they are in police uniforms or whether they are in plain clothes. So we have the criminals who are also creating havoc. Just the other day, one of our comrade sister, she was also murdered the manager of the Papine market. And we have rogue police officers who are also creating havoc in our nation as well. But where in Jamaica is safe? Safe for those who are in Cherry Gardens and Beverly Hills and those gated communities with them how much inches of thick concrete wall. Not for the people in Steerfield, St. Anne. Not for Sonia, who was at the in the Papine area. Not for Buju at Granville, St. James. Not for the young man at Cherry Tree Lane. Not for the baby who was also unalived by security forces. So when you come out, Edmund Bartlett, and talk about Jamaica is safe, please to specify the Jamaicans who are safe in this country. Those who are a part of the higher echelon of society. Those who are at the top of the pyramid. Those who are on who are a part of certain communities and social groups. They are safe. Those who have friends in the force, they are safe. But the average Jamaican citizen, ladies and gentlemen, will continue to travel across Jamaica in fear. Because even when you're not harmed, the 17-year-old was not safe. The 17-year-old was not safe. So don't come and downplay the realities, the lived realities of the average Jamaican citizen. You people are so out of touch. You're out of touch, Edmund Bartlett. You're out of touch, but you all have to sing for your supper. You all have to sing for your supper. It's two types of Jamaica that we have, you know. The Jamaica for the rich and the Jamaica for the poor. And because you are all rich, American citizens coming to Jamaica and they're being unalived. How can Jamaica be safe when we have dilapidated hospitals right across this country? How can Jamaica be safe when a tourist fell from her balcony and there was not even a ambulance to rush her to the hospital? How can Jamaica be safe when an American citizen was gunned down at the Sanchez International Airport by one of our own police officers? How can Jamaica be safe when the people of this country see police uniforms and they think twice if they should pass them that way? They want to turn off and go somewhere else. How can Jamaica be safe, ladies and gentlemen, when we have a corrupt government in power today? How can we be safe in Jamaica when we have an uncertified prime minister leading the charge? How can we be safe, Edmund Bartlett, when the government only spent 1.8% of the cash donations that were given to us by hard-working Jamaicans, local and abroad? How can Jamaicans be safe when you've all isolated yourselves from the hurricane victims in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. James? How can Jamaica be safe when the money from burial 2024 is sitting in the office of the Prime Minister, not doing one God Almighty thing. Tell me, Edmund Bartlett, how is Jamaica safe?
Welcome back to Primetime News and a special welcome to folks on OneSpotMedia.com. We begin with a TVJ News follow-up. The police are on high alert that peace could be shattered in Mona Commons in St. Andrew and surrounding communities following the murder of the manager of the Papine Market at the facility on Friday. Jamila Maitland explains.
Colleen Bernard was gunned down at about 3:50 inside the Papine Market Friday afternoon. According to the police, Ms. Bernard, who was the market manager, was in the process of collecting market fees from shop owners when she was approached by a man. The man shot her multiple times. An off-duty police officer reportedly challenged the gunman as he tried to escape. Eyewitnesses who didn't want to speak on camera say there was a running gun battle, sending motorists and commuters scampering for cover. It ended in the vicinity of Hope Gardens along Hope Road. The gunman was shot and injured. A firearm was reportedly recovered along with ammunition. Unfortunately, Miss Bernard died. TVJ News visited the Papine Market Saturday morning. Their vendors who braved the horrors of less than 24 hours ago declined to speak on the issue, only saying the market is safe. For those who didn't show up, their tightly wrapped tart goods spoke for them. Too scared to come out. Anxious shoppers say they're not trying to linger as much. The Papine Market remains a vital commercial hub. It's where locals, university students, and medical professionals who live and work in the space get their food. It's a major economic driver for the surrounding communities. Communities like Mona Commons, where Miss Bernard lived. Their residents didn't want to speak with us either. Our cameras observed one police car with officers patrolling the space. Our news team has been reliably informed that there are fears of a reprisal. TVJ News reached out to the police. However, Senior Superintendent for the St. Andrews Central Division, Mark Harris, was not available to speak with us up to news time. But a copy of a police report shared with our newsroom said the possibility of a reprisal is high. Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
But Jamaica is safe. Jamaica is safe, ladies and gentlemen. They say Jamaica is safe. Which Jamaica? Am I living under a rock? Huh? Commissioner Blake addresses police use of force amid St. James fatal shooting. So they are all crawling out of the holes, ladies and gentlemen, to address what happened in Granville, St. James. Remember, there are some international human rights groups who have made note of what took place in Granville, St. James. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to read an article for you. We have some other matters to touch. Let's see how quickly we can get through them. Commissioner of Police Dr. Kevin Blake uses the most recent Commissioner's Corner to address police decision making amid renewed public debate about the police's use of force. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, through a statement, says Dr. Blake did not address the fatal shooting of 43-year-old Latoya Bulgin, otherwise called Budge, directly. Instead, Commissioner Blake reflected on the rigors of decision making as an organization. I want you to listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Bulgin was shot and killed during a confrontation in Granville, St. James last weekend. The incident was captured on CCTV and has been widely shared on social media. Now, this is a statement made by, I assume, Dr. Kevin Blake. There are professionals where decisions can be revisited, revised, delayed, or delegated. Policing does not enjoy the luxury. Everyday police officers are required to assess danger, interpret behavior, evaluate risk, and respond to uncertainty in real time. Those decisions often unfold within seconds. Their consequences can last for decades. That difficult reality sits at the center of the latest Commissioner's Corner, written by Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake, who this week turns his attention to one of the most consequential dimensions of law enforcement, decision making. The timing of the Commissioner's reflections is significant. Jamaica has once again found itself engaged in intense public debate surrounding police use of force following a recent fatal shooting incident in St. James. Dr. Blake never references the matter directly. He does not litigate the specifics of any active controversy. He instead chooses a more strategic and intellectually disciplined route. He examines the broader reality within police decisions are made. Policing, this is Dr. Blake now talking. Policing is, by its very nature, a profession of decisions, the Commissioner writes. Every day across Jamaica, we are called upon to make judgments that carry consequences for life, liberty, safety, public confidence, and national stability. That point establishes the gravity of the discussion immediately. Decisions in policing are rarely administrative abstractions. They carry human consequences. They affect victims, suspects, families, communities, and the legitimacy of the state itself. Importantly, the Commissioner resists the temptation to romanticize policing. He instead grounds his argument in operational realism. Some of these decisions are made in the quiet of an office after long reflection and consultation. Others are made in fractions of seconds on a roadside in a volatile and hostile crowd, during a domestic dispute, or in the face of imminent danger. What are you saying, Dr. Blake? What are you saying, Dr. Blake? Thank you, Donna Johnson, for the $10. Let us all say thanks to Donna Johnson for the $10 in the super chat. Feel free to support the super chat, ladies and gentlemen. What is the Commissioner saying here? Are you trying to justify what took place, Mr. Commissioner of Police? That distinction matters profoundly in any serious discussion about accountability and the police conduct. Public analysis of controversial incidents often occurs after the fact, under conditions of calm reflection, slowed footage, legal interpretation, and emotional distance. Operational policing unfolds under entirely different conditions. What are you saying, Dr. Blake? One of the realities that we all must accept is that policing rarely affords the luxury of perfect information. We often act under pressure, uncertainty, fatigue, emotional intensity, and incomplete facts, Dr. Blake observes. Ladies and gentlemen, are you hearing this? This is what the Commissioner of Police is saying. What is your point? What are you getting at? Are you trying to subtly justify what took place in Granville? Mr. Commissioner of Police, that insight is foundational to understanding policing in democratic societies. Police officers are not omniscient actors operating with complete situational awareness. They are human beings making rapid judgments inside unstable, unpredictable, and often dangerous environments. I tell you, when we are confronting an armed suspect, a rapidly evolving confrontation or a threat to innocent citizens, we cannot pause the moment to conduct an academic seminar on alternatives. This is the commissioner being very condescending. You hear what the commissioner of police said? When we are confronting an armed suspect, a rapidly evolving confrontation, or a threat to innocent lives, we cannot pause the moment to conduct an academic seminar on alternatives. The commissioner writes bluntly, decisions must often be immediate. But your decision, commissioner of police, or the decision made by a police officer should not always result in death of the innocent. We understand if a police officer is engaged in a gun battle, that is a different situation. But how do you account for the many cases where suspects or a citizen surrendered, they were unharmed, they had their hands in the air, but there was still a body being thrown into the back of a jeep? It doesn't justify, Dr. Blake, the murder of our young men, and all we have to show for it is just that it was alleged that he was feeling for a gun, or there was an alleged confrontation. That is all we have to work with. Nobody is not asking for police officers on frontline duty or in high-risk operations to take a whole semester at the University of the West Indies or UTech to assess alternative action. We're not stupid people, Commissioner of Police. What we're asking for is for you to appreciate the argument that we need greater accountability when these police officers are out on their high-risk operations. Your argument about not having the infrastructure to accommodate a proper rollout of body-worn cameras, those are weak arguments. That is the plight of the Jamaican people. The concern is that the Minister of National Security totally disregarded the relevant conversation that we need body-worn cameras. If we had body-worn cameras, then we could have ascertained whether or not the police officers are in the right or in the wrong. But when there is no transparency, when there is no accountability, what are we given to hold on to? What is it that we are given to hold on to? Here says, dead man tell no tales, Commissioner of Police. And to try and protect the police in such a way, talking about that, we know that they are human beings too. And that is the reason why we ask for emotional intelligence. Because if the police officer was using emotional intelligence in Granville, Latoya Bulgin, also known as Buju, would be alive today. Emotional intelligence would tell the officer that this is a woman, first of all. Secondly, the fact that she had a vehicle filled with people, she couldn't, I don't think Latoya had no intentions of hurting anybody. Emotional intelligence would tell you that when the vehicle moved off, it was going into the opposite direction of the police officer. The footage is there as proof. Because we know police officers are human beings too. We expect them to act with a certain level of emotional intelligence and use common sense. I find it so very interesting here. I don't even think I want to finish reading this thing. No empathy, no sympathy, no emotional intelligence, no nothing to reassure the public that the JCF will do better. Whether you want to accept it, yes or no, Commissioner of Police, the JCF is failing at the most core commitment that was made by the JCF, which is to serve and protect, not shoot first and ask questions later, not to disregard the cry of well-thinking Jamaicans that it would serve the JCF and the civilians good if there was a proper rollout of body-worn cameras. You know what is happening, Dr. Blake? The people of this country feels as if they are paying police officers to honor life our young men and young women. It doesn't seem as if we're paying you people to protect us from criminals, burglars, and other threats. It seems as if you are the threat and the force that you lead. That is how the people feel. And you had a brilliant opportunity, Commissioner of Police, to try and advocate for the rebuilding of trust by giving us some commitments, even if it was just mere words. Oftentimes it is. But you could have come out and give us some deadlines and give us some commitments that there would be a proper rollout of some body-worn cameras, that there would be a proper procurement of these devices, that you would go back to the drawing board, because Jamaicans aren't stupid. We're not mad people. Something is clearly wrong with the JCF. Something is clearly wrong, Commissioner of Police. The numbers don't lie. So you all want to go around and campaign on murder going down and crime going down, but you're not talking about the income statistics. Right now, Jamaica is the only Caribbean country that has such a concerning statistics regarding fatal police shooting. Early this year, we saw a 300% increase in police fatal shootings. You didn't want to address that. In April alone, 37 people were gunned down by police out of the 30 days. We still don't hear anything about Cherry Tree Lane. We still don't hear anything about the brothers from Steerfield, St. Anne. So what is it that you're really coming out to say? Ladies and gentlemen, what is happening today is reflective of the leadership that we have of this country. For those who are asking about the petition, it is over by, I believe you're talking about Marvin's petition. It is over his TikTok on his page. Let us get the likes up, ladies and gentlemen. The aim is for 500 likes per live. It's only a certain class of people that is being affected by police brutality, Commissioner of Police. That is what you need to address. And you need to ask yourself the question, why? Why is it that police officers can manhandle those from the poorer class? Those from certain communities? But those from high class societies, from certain groups and from a certain status, They are not affected. They are not affected by what the police is doing. So we need to bear these things in mind. And the Commissioner of Police missed an opportunity. He missed the opportunity to even try and regain some amount of trust. I have to hold you accountable, Commissioner of Police, just as how I hold the Prime Minister accountable for the state of this country today. I'm going to be playing the speech from Damion Crawford. Believe it's a conversation that we must keep alive. While I'm playing the clip, I will pin the petition again on the screen. Some persons don't have TikTok, and I understand. I'm going to pin it on the screen again. Apparently I may just have to just keep it pinned for the next couple of shows, because persons are still asking for the link. Alright, so we're gonna see how we can work that out. So while I'm playing Damion Crawford's speech on housing, because it's a conversation, sadly it's not a conversation that we're having enough. Ladies and gentlemen, the funds from the National Housing Trust, these funds are not being used to solve the issue that we're facing when it comes to our housing crisis. We're not hearing a lot of these conversations. The NHT will be raided significantly, ladies and gentlemen. And the monies are not being used to solve the housing crisis that we're facing in this country. And I'm saying to us tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this cannot continue. There needs to be a stop order on what this government is doing. Because who is it benefiting? National Housing Trust funds must be used to address housing crisis. So let us get that thing pinned there. I think Marvin will have to try though, and get the link to be more accessible, because he's predominantly over by TikTok. I'm not sure if he has any other platforms. He may have a Facebook, but sometimes I will forget to pin it. So I'm gonna call him and see how best we can see. I don't have the link anymore. Let me tell you who sent me the link yesterday. What's her name again? Somebody with the link, please send it to my WhatsApp, please. We're gonna find out how Marvin can have the link being more accessible, because I may forget to pin it. That's the thing, I may forget to pin it. Yes, Gisetta, please send me the link. Send me the link again. You sent it to me last night. And while I have it pinned, we will go and listen to, we will play Damion Crawford's speech on NHT. Some solid points. Okay, Dre Bryan sent me just now. Thank you. Thank you, Dre Bryan. I'm not gonna, somebody just remind me. If you come on the show and you realize that it is not pinned, just send me a reminder in the chat. Because honestly, it will slip me. It will slip me. So let me pin it in the Chat. Hold on. Alright, there it is. So the link is pinned. Ladies and gentlemen, type that in. It is in the chat now. It's a Google Doc. You can engage the link to do the petition. I think I like this other one. I think I prefer this other link. Yeah. Let me pin this one. Yeah. The link is pinned on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. We spoke about Lady P and her son already, guys. We spoke about that earlier in the program. Again, condolences to her family and everybody who is grieving. So those who have not yet signed the petition, please do so. You can do so while we hear from MP Damion Crawford some solid points on housing. Some solid arguments we heard. Some solid arguments. So let's hear from Damion Crawford. Please take the opportunity to engage the link and sign the petition. Yes, a number of things can happen at the same time. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen.
Western.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I would be displeased if the citizens of St. Catherine Northwestern would have been confused by the suggestion that I'm now in St. Catherine North. And understanding the quip by the opposition side or the other side of how often I move, I want it to be clear that I still remain in St. Catherine Northwestern and have not insisted on moving my fellow in St. Catherine North. But notwithstanding, there's a Bible verse that came to mind. That said, even the birds have their nest and the fox have their den. In that case, it says, but the Son of Man had nowhere to lay his head. It is not in the exact form, but it does capture our reality as a country. That there are many human beings that have been denied one of the most basic needs of having shelter over their head. Indeed, I read recently in the newspaper that over 50% of Jamaicans had indicated that their intent in the next few years is to migrate from Jamaica. Indeed, I have always had a concern of a person being termed a squatter in the only country that cannot deport him. If it is you have no place in the only place that cannot ask you to leave, there is a need for those in charge of policy to be more committed to shelter and housing moving forward. Now, the government, I'm coming to that. The government has gained great political value from trumpeting the argument, no new taxes, and in seeking to cover the natural expenses of government. And that was very important to be highlighted by Member Malahoo Fort from St. James. Is it Northwestern? West Central. Who indicated that government had expenses and that there shouldn't be a space with funds available that government refused to use. There is an important explanation that must be highlighted, that no one on this side is asking for the non-use of available funds. Indeed, we're asking for the purposive use, to use those funds for a purpose that we on this side believe is important. It therefore must be highlighted if those on the other side are not of an equal commitment to solving the crisis of housing that we face. That crisis can be captured in over 600,000 being perceived and defined as squatters. And it extends itself to over 150,000 who wants but can't get. You see, when it was highlighted that there is no demand problem, nobody needs to say that the Prime Minister's actual words, in quotation, verbatim, was that there is no demand problem. But if it is that you have over 150,000 demanders who cannot access true supply, then there is no demand problem. There is, however, a supply problem. When we speak to the funds available to NHT, the question that first should be asked is if there are any systems that NHT can facilitate to help to reduce. Therefore, we would look at the access to capital. Can NHT give greater access to capital? We would not have been in any form of dissent if NHT had concocted a method of giving greater access to capital. The second component is that we need an active and capable labor force. One of the greatest shortage in construction is an active and capable labor force. We sell the notion of 3% unemployment without indicating to the public that it doesn't include the 727,000 Jamaicans who have given up on finding work, refused to engage, and almost over 100,000 more who are underemployed. Just 2 days, 1 hour for the week, counted as employed. So if there was a design to increase the competence of the labor force, whether through working with heart or otherwise to create a construction corps that would eventually be able to build more houses, practical experience on the job, right? Learning from others, certifying those who learn from them, uncle. If you were partnering with heart, there would have been no objection on this side. Natural resource through land. A lot of the people who can't even get a start, who are being perceived as squatters, is because they can't access land. If there was a strategy, and I don't know how JLP, the government side, all of a sudden start to speak to, oh, that was your idea. You have never shown a reservation to stealing ideas in the entire life. So those that are good, the Prime Minister indicated that he was the best baby father. And if any good idea is there, he would take it. How can access to land not be perceived as a good idea? But in addition, we come into that. In addition, we also heard the leader suggest the time that is being proposed. Because there was before Melissa 10 years that this government consisted and continued to raid the band. And in raiding the band, sold a lie that there was no new burden on the people. Yet you're taking the resources of the people. The difference between a trust and a tax is that in a trust, it is held on your behalf. In a tax, it is removed and used as the government sees fit. And so if the government sees fit to pay wages, he does so. If they see fit to print all these things that has been printed here for a speech that can be seen, will be emailed to us later, it is going to be done in the same way. If they see fit to do whatever whims and fancy come to mind, it is not held on behalf of the people. So, as the member from Eastern Westmoreland indicate, that as is being operated, the NHT can be perceived as assisting the better off through the contributions of the worst off, as is being operated. But there is nothing within the rules of the NHT that disqualifies fixing that. I will tell you of one of the things that stuck with me when my father died when I was 15 years old. And I'll mention his name for the record, George Crawford. When he was sick, he said, I can only leave you advice. I'll never forget that. He said, me can't give you nothing but advice. As a little boy, them time, you know why you're not what your parents say. And so in talking to you, he must say, yo, me have nothing else to give other than advice. As I got older, I said to myself, how did he feel? That he couldn't leave me a house. He couldn't leave me a car. He never even drove a car. He said he had nothing but advice. And since then, I became committed to the concept of willing NHT to your children. Because at that time, I couldn't use his points. But he worked all his life, contributed to NHT, and died with it. If he could will that NHT to me, how much quicker would I have been able to own a piece of property? If that was a proposal here today, none of us would have been in resistance.
How do you feel about that proposal, ladies and gentlemen? Willing NHT points to your child or children. How do you feel about that? Because what he's saying is that his father was poor and he couldn't leave anything with him but advice. However, he worked very hard and he contributed to the NHT. What if his father could have willed the NHT points to his next of kin? That would have probably made it very easier for his son or daughter to own a home. You just add those points to their own contributions to the NHT. You realize that the People's National Party, they are the ones with all the ideas. They are the ones with the vision. No wonder the NHT came from the PNP either way. But I believe that's a very, very good idea, ladies and gentlemen. That's a very, very good idea. Very, very good idea. Well, let's get back to the MP.
Right? I don't assume come to that. But I knew that many a Jamaican who are on their deathbed wish they could sign a paper that I have nothing but done what I have worked for you. That can change within the NHT. If that was before us, no one would have been in opposition. Additionally, it is indeed a different conversation. But the more the money is taken, is the less we can afford the things we are discussing. It is not unlimited funds. So therefore, when the barn is ready, there's no fruits to deliver to the people. But because the law does not define the principle, I hear the member from St. James talking about the law has changed. The principle that was defined was that this was an...
Is who that kissed them teeth a while ago. But look at Cuthbert Flynn. She seems to dislike Damion Crawford a lot. I'm pretty sure she hissed her teeth just now, ladies and gentlemen. Am I the only one who saw it? What is wrong with what Mr. Crawford is saying? MP Cuthbert, what is wrong with what Damion Crawford is saying? Huh?
Define the principle. I hear the member from St. James talking about the law has changed. The principle that was defined was that this was an important spend for the housing needs of the people. That's right. That's right. How much of us in here? I mean, most of us had an equal experience. Well, when you come off a bus, no one turn up in your yard because there's zinc fence and your dirt road. You walk past a yard till bus driver. How much of us in here would wish that NHT would have considered that most of the reserve funds that was not claimed were not claimed by those same people whose children walk past the zinc fence and walk past the mud? How much of us? We move again to that fact that housing isn't defined only by the walls and the shelter, the roof. Look at Olaba now, who needs a high school with greatest import. The Olaba shift system now have almost 1,500 per each shift because the housing development that happened in Olaba never came with the infrastructure that was needed to make adequate citizenry. This proposal is not to build a school for those communities or to transform the schools that we have experienced, that when I go to my school now, it's the same setup as when I was in school. You go to a school in 2026. When I was at KC in 1991, it is the same setup as now. And you don't say you use NHT to improve the school infrastructure because most people go to a school closest to their yard. Are we not of that understanding that primary schools were built in walking proximity so that people could have access to adequate schooling is what we have now, where you're dividing a class with chalkboard adequate schooling? Would we on this side have been in any way not support if you were putting in that infrastructure? And then how much people taxing and go for them yard? How much road work now in West and Eastern Westmoreland and Anova that a person have to walk half the way because no vehicle will go up there? There's a place in Northwest St. Catherine called Bermody. I wrote to the Ministry of Education that no taxi goes to Bermody. No delivery truck wants to go to the school. A 7-year-old in walking from Bermody was raped. And we don't have a schoolwork program, but we have a farm road program. So you have a farm road program, but you don't have a school road program. It is important to get out the farm goods, but it's not important to get the children there. If NHT was going to improve school roads so that those within proximity could access, none of us would have been in opposition. So selling this thing as if we are proposing that NHT money should be left in abeyance. Nothing like that is true. We on this side have gone in most cases through the suffering of inadequate housing, through the suffering of squatting community, through the suffering of inaccess to water and adequate electricity. I am saying to you, my friend, that if you were transferring some funds to rural electrification so as to appropriately carry electricity to communities that have to stretch wire, you have indicated, and what we are saying is not the non-spending of NHT money. It is the likely misspending when it goes within the consolidated fund. So what I am saying, you can't stop me today. What I'm saying Multiple housing schemes have not received any investment in infrastructure in the longest time. Multiple houses have been lost because hydrants have not been maintained. Multiple people have suffered the indignity of being bulldozed from their houses and their property. We don't have to talk about Clifton. All we're saying on this side is that if housing is as important to you as it is to us, ring-fence housing money on behalf of housing. That's all we're saying. Both directly in the walls and the roof, and indirectly in the communities and the access to that which is humane. One way we can always quickly spend is on the basic schools that I'm carrying you to court for in very short time. Thank you.
So them on fire, and if the enemy on fire, you can't stand up like stooge. You can't go on like a fool. You have to fire back. Somebody load up and say, pop, 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 pop. Lord God, badam, bam, bam, bam. Jesus Christ, what is what pop, 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 pop. Jesus Christ, war tonight, Bishop. Warfare tonight. Warfare. Badam, bam, bam, bam. Boom, boom.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Damion Crawford. Brilliant. Use the funds from the National Housing Trust to address our housing crisis. Use the National Housing Trust to improve communities. It's a form of housing. Use the NHT for its intended purpose. Instead, the Andrew Holness administration will be raiding the NHT, putting it into the consolidated funds where there's no guarantee that it will be used to address housing any at all. This is enough reason for Jamaica to be outraged. We're winding down nicely, but I saw something here. The government is seeking to block the Integrity Commission's access to personal files. That wanna like up the life and share up the life. Wanna call some more people over. What is happening? What is really happening here? The government and the Integrity Commission again? I'm trying to understand. The government is seeking to block the Integrity Commission's access to personal files in Health Ministry corruption probe. Commission says mandate at risk. Oh, Lord of mercy. What is happening, ladies and gentlemen?
And one by one, Uno go into jail. One by Uno go into. One by.
What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Well, let us read the article. Let us read the article. We are well over our 2-hour mark. I'll probably just bring this one home with this story. We pick up tomorrow and Clarion call. Tomorrow we'll touch on the NWA, because over by NWA, ladies and gentlemen, taxpayers will be facing an $8 million bill as the NSWMA acts as legal director. The taxpayers will be paying some more money unnecessarily. But tomorrow we can pick up. But we have to talk about the Integrity Commission. Let us read the article, ladies and gentlemen. What is happening here? The government has moved to court to prevent the Integrity Commission from compelling the Ministry of Health and Wellness to produce 8 employment files as part of its investigation into alleged corruption linked to the Jamaica-Cuba eye care program. Lord of mercy. Minister Tufton, is everything alright? Why is the government blocking? Is who not protecting over there? First, who no want table the FLA report. Now, who no want the Integrity Commission have access to the personnel them file to conduct the probe. Well, we want to know what is happening over by the Ministry of Health. Too much corruption, market means scandal, scandal after scandal after scandal. What are you hiding, Minister Tufton? Let's read the article. The commission, though, has warned that the government's move could cripple corruption investigations. Well, Integrity Commission, this administration doesn't care about that. They thrive on corruption. It's not the first time they're bringing it to court, Integrity Commission. The commission has warned that the government's move could cripple corruption investigations across government. But the Attorney General insists it is about protecting the constitutional privacy rights of public offenders. Huh? And I want us to know who the Attorney General is. And you all should know by now. Dr. Derek McCoy. I thought it was the other. It's actually Dr. Derek McCoy. Right? Why are they protecting? Who are they protecting over there? Filed in the Supreme Court on March 23, the case pits the Attorney General, the state's principal legal officer, and Ministry of Health and Wellness Permanent Secretary Errol Green against the Integrity Commission and its Directors of Investigations, Kevin Stevenson. I've heard that name before. The government is seeking permission to apply for judicial review, a process through which a court examines whether a public authority acted lawfully and within its powers. The matter was last heard on May 15 before Justice Sonia Wint Blair and will continue on June 11 according to the Court Administration Division. While the dispute centers on 8 personnel files, the case has emerged as part of a broader constitutional battle over the scope of the Integrity Commission's investigative powers and how far it can go in compelling the government agencies to produce sensitive records. We want no wagwan. It joins a growing list of legal challenges from public officials, state agencies, and politically connected figures. Okay, I understand, ladies and gentlemen. Once it touch political figures, especially over the Jamaica Labour Party side, there's going to be some ruckus over there. Now I understand, ladies and gentlemen, what the ruckus is about.
Something alright. Something alright, yeah.
I understand. I understand. Okay. Politically connected figures contesting aspects of the IC's operations since its establishment as the country's principal anti-corruption agency in 2017. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is separately before the courts seeking to strike down provisions of the Integrity Commission Act as part of his own challenge to its investigation into his financial affairs. So for those who think that the Prime Minister is not still before the court trying to weaken the Integrity Commission, well, the IC is reminding you of that reality. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is separately before the courts seeking to strike down provisions of the Integrity Commission Act as part of his challenge to its investigation into his own financial affairs. Junior Finance Minister Xavier Main also filed a case concerning his statutory declarations. Oh Lord, the article sweet me, man. Parliament started reviewing the legislation, including proposals critics argue would weaken some of the Commission's powers. Well, we know that the Jamaica Labour Party, the Andrew Holness administration, all they strive to do is to weaken every single institution that is to hold our leaders accountable. Everything that seeks to fight against corruption in this country, the JLP don't like it. Listen to how Labour rights talk. Listen to when the bloggers talk. They don't like Integrity Commission. Beyond the Health Ministry case, the government's filings reveal it is seeking broad orders to at least temporarily block the Commission from serving notices or summonses on any ministry or department in pursuit of personal files across the public service. Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen? You see what the government is trying to prevent from happening? They're trying to prevent the Integrity Commission from serving notices or summoning any ministry or department. What you say to me? All public officers in ministries and departments of government will be directly affected by the court's determination concerning how the respondents should interact with public officers and how they treat with or access past or current public officers' personal information, said Green, who as permanent secretary is the chief accounting officer and most senior civil servant in the ministry. Stevenson warned the sweep of the orders sought could damage active investigations. JLP don't business about that. Such an order, this is what Stevenson is saying, may have an adverse impact on investigations currently underway and or near completion. In circumstances where there has been compliance and complete cooperation by other public officers, ministries or departments of government, he said. Why is it that other persons can comply to the requests from the Integrity Commission, but all of a sudden, them set of people enough to comply? What kind of people am I protect over there? The government has insisted, however, that the injunctions do not halt the corruption investigation, but merely halt the seizure of personal and employment files until this court determines the legal issues concerning same, including whether such seizure is lawful. It further argued that compliance with the request by the Health Ministry and other government bodies subject to IC demands will infringe constitutional rights. This government talking about constitutional rights? This government talking about constitutional rights to privacy and undermine the judicial review if one is granted? What? Which government are talking about constitutional rights? Tomorrow on Clarion Call will finish the article. You're telling me that this government all of a sudden business about constitutional rights? The same Prime Minister that infringed upon the constitutional rights up by the people up there in the hills with the Bengal mining or what they want him, who is trying to overthrow the decision made. They're trying to appeal the decision made by the Supreme Court when the experts, the environmentalists and others said that the mining could infringe upon the constitutional rights of the people in these communities. Is this the government that all of a sudden cares about constitutional rights? The same government that mobilized SOEs that infringed upon constitutional rights, ladies and gentlemen? No, man. No. No. What is happening here, ladies and gentlemen? But you know, I'll end by, I know some persons want to, you may have seen the Cuthbert Flynn video. I posted it on the YouTube channel. I gave a little analysis of it as well. You can go and watch it after this video. Remember, the link for the petition is there. But I'll end by saying this though, ladies and gentlemen. Give me the 22 likes to 500. Carol, tell them. Come on, guys, just like up the live. 22. Come on, 22 more likes. 22 more likes. I'd like to say this as we go. Tomorrow is Labor Day. I did say that tomorrow I may not have an evening program. Definitely going to have Clarion Call. May have an extended version of Clarion Call because I may not have an evening program. So we might spend 2 hours on Clarion Call instead of 1. But I'll say this before I go. The Andrew Holness administration, they have made it very clear as to what they represent. And it doesn't need to be a difficult conversation. It is clear that the Andrew Holness administration is too corrupt to fight against corruption. They are too far gone. They are so deep in the corruption, ladies and gentlemen. You simply cannot depend on them to uphold constitutional rights, to uphold matters of integrity, to uphold and to advocate for transparency and accountability. The JLP, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for 500 likes. The JLP administration is too far gone. The only way we can fix corruption in Jamaica today is to get rid of corrupt administrations. And this is one of them. And that is the reason why Mark Golding, it is so prophetic, the speech that he made. And I make it my point of duty to include it in our introduction when we have our programs. Because Mark Golding made it very clear that it is this administration who is the head of the stream that continues to weaken the institutions that should fight against corruption. The same corruption that Mr. Holness said that he stands against. And he has all the moral authority in the world to fight against it. Oh, really?
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again. Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces principles of good governance in this country.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Integrity Commission, when Mark Golding was Justice Minister, played a sick. Well, in that video, he told you that he was the one who created it. It was his idea. And the Integrity Commission is one of the most, if not the most important body in Jamaica, as it directly fights against corruption from the top on both sides. The labor rights try to spin this narrative that the Integrity Commission only fight against JLP. But that's not what I'm getting to understand, because the Integrity Commission demand that every one of them provide them filings. So so that their statutory declarations can be certified. Everybody have to answer to the Integrity Commission. It is unfair, ladies and gentlemen, for only some people to comply to the IC, but the government should not. Again, we're hearing the Ministry of Health and Wellness popping up in conversations regarding corruption. Again, we are hearing another scandal loading under the Andrew Holness-led administration. Again, we are seeing barefaced corruption and the undermining of the institutions that should be ensuring that transparency and accountability is the order of the day. So my question to my viewers tonight as I go, my question to the labor rights as I go, my question to those who refuse to go to the polls because in your view, from your point of view, the political parties are the same. Well, I am speaking for the now. We have been under the Andrew Holness administration for some years now. And we've been hearing scandal after scandal after scandal. Barefaced opposition to what is right. And my question to you is this. Do you believe that this government deserves a fourth term? With all the corruption, the unspent donation money, the increase in taxes, the raiding of the NHT, not using it for its intended purpose. The meter judge, meter maker. With all of what is happening, you are telling me that this administration deserves another chance? With how they are so quick to defend the Speaker of the House, even when she's wrong. You don't believe that some of these ministers deserve prison time? Market me scandal, drill scandal. Look at what happened at the university hospital not too long ago. The Minister of Health himself said it, that firing people won't solve any problem. He is comfortable with having corrupt people still getting paid at the university hospital. They have no problem with facilitating corrupt personalities and characters. They have facilitated corruption. And that is the problem. It is sad. It is sad. It is sad. A scandal is loading. And I tell people all the time, we don't need to make up stories. We don't need to give nobody a Nancy story. The proof is there for everybody to see. Leave it to the JLP. Leave it to the JLP to expose themselves. My only concern is about what the people of Jamaica will do when election comes around. Let us pray. Father, we give you thanks for your mercies. We give you thanks for your grace. Give thanks for another opportunity to gather in this fashion, though virtually. Everybody's presence is being felt tonight. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to advocate and to air out the issues affecting Jamaicans right across this country. Even today, that was observed as Pentecost Sunday. We thank you, Lord, that your Holy Spirit is willing to be with each and every one of us. I pray, Lord, that you will be with us. We are entering into the hurricane season. A lot of Jamaicans are still without roofs, homes, without food, no light, no water. It is the reality. And we're only asking that your spirit be with these people because we are under an administration that refuses to assist. Lord, help us. Help us in these troubling times. Seems as if there's another scandal loading. And we need culprits. We need the corrupt ones to be held accountable and to face the full force of the law. Let nothing fight against justice and truth. So whatever powers there be that is trying to fight against institutions that seeks to hold leaders accountable, to whom is given, to whom much is given, much is required. We cannot have our leaders getting millions of dollars, meddling in corruption, doing all sort of untoward activities, and nothing is to be done about it. You are a God of truth and justice. Bring them to justice. Expose them so that Jamaica can be free from the corrupt ones. Thank you, Lord, for those who sowed into the program tonight, those who supported the super chat, and those who continue to recommend this channel to other places. Help us to go from strength to strength. Touch the viewers now and set us on the right path for the week ahead. These and other mercies we ask of you in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sticking and staying. See you tomorrow on Clarion Call at 3 p.m. Continue to like the live as we go. Keep on praying, keep on believing. The best is yet to come. Bye-bye.
Perspective family. Big up yourself every time, Perry the General. Go and do it, comrade. The word is love. Where we are go do? Police them a kill off, use the tree on the roads. Where we are go do? The price gone up on the JLP let loose. Where we are go do? Times hard and politicians don't have a clue. Where we are go do? Where we are go do? Aye, time for trust and keep the faith to help us win this race. Poor people now no food, all them see a empty plate. And the rich them getting richer, them fi burn up in the lake. Promises they make, but enough of them are fake. But black love divide, put politics aside. A time for we unite, a time for do the right. We have to start by speaking truth and not the lie. Perry set the trend, we have to unite. Pressure it a boil, farmers them a toil. And all our work them no see nothing at all. We can't segregate, we can't separate. Put aside the war, time for love not hate. Pressure it a boil, farmers them a toil. And all our work them no see nothing at all. We can't segregate, we can't separate. Put aside the war, time for love not hate.
Lightning and thunder for the JLP. Oh. Corruption in the nation. What a sticky situation. Always see a degradation. Innocent men at the station. Andrew and his cronies getting richer, them a big done. Talking about them helping out the poor. Tell me which one. Juliet, a speaker of the house, me can't believe it. Them mashing the housing trust for people I go feel it. The JLP, them satanic and demonic. Now war fit the use, them prosper only fit them pocket. I beg is hamping. Corruption in the nation. What a sticky situation. Always see a degradation. Innocent men at the station. Andrew and his cronies getting richer, them a big done. Talking about them helping out the poor. Tell me which one. Juliet, a speaker of the house, me can't believe it. Them mashing the housing trust for people I go feel it. The JLP, them satanic and demonic. No war fit the use, them prosper only fit them pocket. I beg you stop it. corruption in the nation. What a sticky situation. All we see a degradation. Innocent men at this station. Andrew and his cronies getting richer, them a big done. Talking about them helping out the poor. Tell me which one. Juliet, speaker of the house, me can't believe it. Them mashing the house in trust, but people are go feel it. The JLP, them satanic and demonic. No war fit the use, them prosper only fit them pocket. I beg you stop it. Yeah, yeah.
Well,